Hello,
everyone, and good morning. Thank you for joining us. Our event today is hosted by the generosity of OVBI volunteers and leaders. OVBI is an overseas arm of Volunteers for Better India. We are Indians who care for a better India. We are doctors, software engineers, students, volunteers, business owners, and everyday citizens coming together for the betterment of India. We believe that indifference of the masses is responsible for India's current problems, and we are committed to changing it. So what do? Our focus is on supporting the Volunteers for a Better India movement and advocacy for India and Indians worldwide, supporting institutional reform and systemic changes in India, building a strong Indian community in the US. So I encourage all of you to consider joining OVBI and supporting the organization. You should have already got information in your emails. You can always go to www.overseasvbi.org. So thank you, OVBI. So as you know, today our panel is on immigration, and the new order and changing rules have been so hard to keep up. In fact, many of us have been anxious and unclear on what to expect. Today, our lawyers have become our first responders, fighting for us and protecting our rights, and offering us their services at airports around the country. We are very grateful today to have Anu in our presence, because she's a passionate lawyer who's dedicated her life to immigration services. And she's here to give us updates on the immigration policies in lieu of the current changes. So Anu is a unique Indian-American lawyer who has expertise in both Indian law as well as US law and US immigration. Based in Silicon Valley in California, she is an internationally awarded Indian-American attorney, a social activist, an author, and her books, Immigration Dreams and Lives on the Brink, were eye-openers for Indian immigrants living in the US. Cool books, you might want to check it out. She's also an avid social activist for immigration. We can see she's here with us. A legal and human rights advocate. She's also a world-class tennis player. Did you know she represented India in Wimbledon when she was very young? She's a recipient of numerous prestigious awards for her exemplary legal and athletic abilities, as well as her endless commitment to the human and legal rights of immigrants. She has served as the first legal advisor to the Embassy of India in DC and all Indian consultants in San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Houston, on issues pertaining to US immigration and Indian laws. She's a practicing lawyer at the Supreme Court of India as well as Supreme Court of Washington. She has vast experience in the field of immigration. She has over 30 years of experience in international law, handling a huge number of Indian family law cases in India and states in US. She has successfully handled numerous cases of investment-based green cards, H1B, L1, family-based green cards, deportation defenses, asylum, appeals, victims of domestic violence, and various waivers of inadmissibility and U visas. She's a recipient of many awards. She has received award for excellence for upholding immigration rights in California by Ana Caballero, the Secretary of State of California in 2012. She was honored by the Mayor of City of Fremont in 2005 for her Outstanding Community Leadership Award, and she received the title of Extraordinary Ability Status by the United States government in the year 2000 in the field of athletics and human rights. She has received numerous awards and scholarships since 1974 all over the world, including several awards from the President of India. Among many other immigration cases, in a case where 19 Indian students were radio tagged and accused of immigration fraud in the Tri-Valley University of California. Anu Peshawaria worked with the consulate and the students to bring about quick resolution to the legal issues and bringing closure to the complex cases. She showed full grasp of all the issues and law. Her focused approach and well-argued representation helped the consulate to close the cases early. Wow, what a bio. Welcome, Anu.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome. So let's first start by seeing a 30-second video of Anu and her firm, and then we'll go on to talk to Anu about her presentation. She has a wonderful presentation prepared for us, and it has included many of the questions that people have put forth in the registration. And if you have any questions while she's presenting, feel free to keep posting your questions, and we will try to address them either during the presentation or after. All right, so with this, I bring you her video.
Domestic violence cases or looking for someone who has experience in handling U.S. immigration, green card, divorce and fraud marriages, domestic violence cases, or business investment in the U.S.? Come to us, Anu Attorney Professional Law Group. Anu Attorney Professional Law Group. We will show you the way.
With this, I would love to welcome Anu to share her insights with us. Welcome, Anu.
Thank you, Sangeeta. It's such a pleasure to be with OVBI today. OVBI has done such a considerable, great job, and I especially want to thank Sanjana, who brought me here today, and Sangeeta, you and Parag, and all the volunteers of OVBI. I wish to thank all of you to give me this opportunity to serve the community. I have a presentation in today's world, as you know, how things have moved in the immigration field. In the last half an hour, or in about few minutes, we heard how the Ninth Circuit has changed, again, back Trump's policy. So in the last week, there has been so much fight about banning few people from which countries and which not, and how it's going to impact all of us. Since we are all here today doing different kinds of cases and different reasons to be here, some of us are on green card who are looking for citizenship. Some of us are worried whether even after we have citizenship, do you think they'll take back our passports because we were not born in this country? Some people are talking about their H1Bs being revoked because the salary has become 130K. So if we are drawing less than 130K, what are they going to do with us? So at this time of unrest, I thought of making a very nice presentation for you to give you a little idea of the background of immigration and how it evolved and why it is so important today. So give me a second. So this is the immigration plan, and I'm sharing with you the immigration plan which Trump has for the future and its impact on India. So this presentation is for people for all nationalities, but I will have some talk about India since I'm an Indian American and the first legal advisor to Government of India. I thought it's my duty to explain what impact it will have on India. So let's start with the significance of US immigration. It's the most complex.
The presentation is not visible. Can you?
Presentation is not visible.
I think you'll have to click on screen share on the left side. You'll see a green button.
I actually did that.
Oh, he did that.
Yeah, we can see it now.
You can see it now?
Yep.
How about you just go this way?
Sorry?
Can you see it now?
No.
No. So when it goes to slide view, you're unable to see it, but you can see it at this point.
You can see it right now?
No, we can't see it now. Can you share again?
Okay, I'll have to reshare. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it now?
Yes,
Yeah.
so now click on the presenter view.
Mm.
Oh, we lose it because I think it's, you want to share your entire screen and then do the presenter view.
Okay. Are you able to see it?
No.
No. So I think it's only going to be working at this stage, so that's okay. We'll just do that. You can just go through it from here. Just go next like this.
Like how? Like this?
Just this way. You can just go down like that. Up, down, right? Like this.
Okay.
This up.
So as I was saying, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me. Okay. You can keep it on for a minute so that you don't wait.
It'll be clear.
Okay. So as I was saying, that immigration is the most complex, most debated, and most important for voting. No wonder you saw that this issue was the first taken up after they assumed charge. So this is facts and statistics. We are talking of 214. So how many unauthorized immigrants are there in the United States? It's 11.3 million. And in 214, 3.5% of the total population are illegal immigrants. Now, what they start talking about in the beginning is not about all immigrants, but they talk about illegal immigrants. Now, what is illegal immigrants? They cross the border, or they stay in the country and lose their status, or some people take asylum at the border. Some people overstay their student status. Some people's case got denied, but they still continue. These are all illegal. Now, in 2014, the highest amount of statistics is of 63% is of Mexicans who entered US via immediate relatives of US citizens. So the highest category which people come under is family category. That's why family immigration is also equally important, because you have to see which kind of person can enter or not enter, or even on family immigration. Now, until 2014, 52% of Indians entered via employment-based. So India has the highest people who've come in through employment-based, which means primarily H1B. That's why it has got the highest significance today. How many total Indian immigrants in the United States? It's above 2 million. And out of those, 500,000 are officially identified as undocumented. So now, officially, the ones are different from the unofficial ones. So there is a talk that it has to be above 500,000. It could go into 1 million or above. Now, Trump's plans for illegal immigrants. So what is he saying? His initial approach was, we have to be very firm. We have to be very, very strong when people come in illegally. We have a lot of people that want to come in through the legal process. So it's not fair to them. But between you and me, what happened in the last week or two? There were people who came through the legal process, but they were banned to enter the country. So that means he has the power to pass an executive order. We have an example of that right now. So what did he come up with when he came? He said, I'm going to take away the 2 illegal amnesties which have been given by President Obama. All president immigration laws will be enforced. We will triple the number of ICE agents. So what do ICE agents do? They're all over. So they will look after, go into the employer's place and see whether whoever he's employing, is he illegal? Whether any person has not got a pay stub right now. Anybody's place can be raided, which means some of these Mexicans who are working at some stores, they may not have a social security number, they'll be rounded up. So the number of ICE agents, if they double, automatically the enforcement will go up. And then he talks about deportations to begin. See, I'm talking as an attorney. I don't have a personal opinion here, because all of us can have personal opinions, but this is what the newspapers say. This is what the Boston Globe says, that the deportation is about to begin. Trump says he's starting to soften because we don't want to hurt people, he says. We want people, we have a great country, we want people here, we want people to work here. So that softening tone is coming because immigration is such an important subject. People have come from all over the world here. America is not just one particular kind of person who's been born here. Numerous people from all over the world, different nationalities, have come to this country and have been born here. So what do you call America? Who are you hurting? Now let's go to the India versus changes in US law. As before the elections and later, you'll see the mixed reactions. Some say Trump is great for India. Some say it's good for Hindu Americans. Some say, and our dear president-elect also says that, you know, Hindu Sarkar. Hindu. So what are the opportunities we have to tap? Let's start with the H1B program, because I know most of you are interested in this program, as 52% of Indians have come through this program. So India is the largest beneficiary. Why do I say only misuse will be checked and legal and genuine work will continue? My presentation as it unfolds will keep on explaining how. So don't be so panicking about the H1B program being reversed or changed, because lots of changes have to come with time. Certain changes may be necessary, may not be necessary, but it will be looked upon by a panel of all the people who have joined his cabinet. Now, for the benefit of those people who are listening all over the world to this seminar, who is eligible for an H1B program? A person who's eligible for an H1B program, the most important thing it needs to have is an employer-employee relationship. Many times we find that the employer does not directly hire the person. He has a contract with another client, and that another client has a contract with a third client, and ends up being 7 contracts in the middle, and then you reach the final employer. This is one big issue on which we get the number of RFEs. What is RFE? Is request for further information. We get so many questions on employer-employee relationship. This is the reason, because there are 7 layers in between reaching the final employer. Second is the bachelor's degree. Everybody here in India has 3-year bachelor degree. We have to make it equivalent to a 4-year bachelor degree in the United States. So 3 years of experience in India give you 1 year of education equivalence. When you join that, it becomes an equivalent bachelor's degree. And it has to be of a specialty occupation. Now, specialty occupation means, what kind of specialty occupation are we talking about? Melania Trump was a fashion model. She came on an H1B. So I've done cases for people who are singers, models, teachers, people who came as a assistant dentist. So computer programmer is not the only one. There are numerous people who can come in an H1B. It only means that the link to the company and the person has to be accurate. If the link is not accurate, they're going to deny your petition. The third is prevailing wage. Computer programmer salary at this time, I noticed yesterday in Silicon Valley, is above 102,000. Now, this yearly wage has to be given to the employer regularly. You cannot put a person on the bench and give them one month's salary and not give the other month. Because when you go back for stamping, you might find that you go back to the embassy, they will say that the whole yearly wage has not been paid. That's one issue. And another issue is that this prevailing wage will be different from state to state, because every state has a different prevailing wage. So prevailing wage in California is 102. So I think California will be least affected if they go above 130, which they're talking about. But again, the questions about whether that will have a retrospective effect or not, we shouldn't be worried until we see the actual law. Now, how great is this demand? In 2016, 236,000 people applied. And in 2015, 233,000 applied. So the demand is very great. And they capped at 65,000. So for the benefit of those people who don't know the H1B program, it is a 65,000 cap every year, and 20,000 is for masters, which they're talking to now remove this cap of masters. Now, who are the people who use this program most? So tech companies, consulting companies, outsourcing companies. We have the top H1B sponsors from India in Infosys and TCS and IBM, and then the French company Capgemini. All these companies need these visas. California alone sponsored 119,000 H1Bs, whereas Chicago was 35,000. So the highest beneficiary in America today is California, and the next is New York state. Now, what are the proposed H1B regulations we're talking about? They're talking about raising salary. They're talking about doing away with experience levels. Now, for those who don't understand H1B's experience levels, there are about 4 levels which come under which you can pay the least amount of level salary or the highest level of amount salary. So unfortunately, what some people do is, for an experienced person, they pay them the lowest level salary and they lower the experience. And when that is found out, this becomes a misuse of the system. So small things like this are going to be checked now. Employers claim that H1Bs are a rare skill set. Now, if they're a rare skill set and they're required, why does the current law pay them an average wage? Why do they pay them low? This is what everybody is questioning. Now, in California, we may be paying 112, but in certain other places like Chicago, we are paying 35. Now, certain other experience levels, we drop so low that we can pay them 60K also. So that's how there becomes discrimination, and that's why the policy is checking these things. Now, we can't stop them from checking their own program. So this is the time to gear up to see that what kind of mistakes are we making and where can we correct them. They're saying visas are to be given only now to exceptional contributions to US economy. So they don't want people with just 2 years or 3 years of experience to come into the country because they're not making exceptional contribution to the US economy. These are the things that are in the bill. Well, there are some things in our favor. What are those? Look at what GoDaddy says. If we can't hire skilled immigrants, they'll set up their own Silicon Valley in their own country. So these are the employment-based and a whole lot of visas that are applicable. So given this scenario, what would you think? Is there H1B the only option to come in? Well, there are TN visas. There's NAFTA agreements. Don't confuse NAFTA with Trans-Pacific trade. NAFTA is still there for so many countries. Anybody can cross in on a TN visa from Canada, from Mexico. These are also visas which are still there. What about B1? You can come on a visitor visa and you can come on a business visa. Business visas category, you can come as many times for 6 months at a time, and you can explore business opportunities. You can convert this B1 visa also into an L1 visa program if you want to live here permanently. You can also come in on an E2 visa. Now, E2 visas are, again, for NAFTA countries. They just can set up a business for less than $100,000 if they want, and they can come on an E2 visas. Then this includes people from all parts of the world, except India. But by the way, Pakistan is included in this. So Pakistan has a treaty with India, with US, but India does not. So this is good news or bad news, I don't know. You need to understand this. Then there is an EB5 program. This EB5 program is one of the most wonderful programs which is available at this time. For people who are living in the country on H1B, can convert their case to EB5. And at this moment, the EB5 program is asking only for 500,000, which is 3.5 crores in Indian rupees. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of us Indians even own our own houses in India, which people don't own over here. And most of them have 3.5 crores. But for those who don't have, there is still good news. They could come on an L1 visa. So family-based is some more options like K1, K3, K4. As I explained, family-based is the largest people coming here. You can come on a fiancé visa. You can come and convert it into a married visa. You can come from India to come and visit and then convert also. Education-based F&M, everybody is very familiar with the F visa, and now they have an M visa too. We come on education-based, again, education-based, you have to show that you have ability to pay the fees. You have an I-20, which is issued by the university. Sometimes even after an I-20 is issued, the embassy in their countries deny them the visas. Why do they deny? Because sometimes they feel that they don't have enough control in their own country to come back. So even an officer, after you have a approved I-20, can deny. So remember that before spending your hard-earned money on student visas. Now there are exchange visitors like J, Q. Affirmative defense. How do you defend an asylum case? There's a defensive and an affirmative way. You can come here, and if you're caught at the border, then you be a defense, because the court then has a hearing and you go up before the court and then you explain the reasons for your coming into the country. And affirmative is, while you're in this country, you can file an application. So even today, if you find that you're afraid of something, of going back, there's no harm in bringing it up if it is true. There's special categories like the outstanding for O. There's P for people who come in with, who are artists who can come in on P visas. I remember doing a lot of cases for art of living. So Guruji, like for example, brings people who are teachers for art of living. They can come under this category. And it's true and it is genuine. Then there's the E1 and E2, which I already explained under investment visas. This gives you a little overview of immigration. I mean, there are so many other categories besides this, but those come based on a person's personal situation. Opportunities to tap will be EB5 visas. I wanted to show you this Austin seeks. So Trump has a project in Austin. So we don't think that these programs are going to go anywhere. So EB5 will definitely continue. L1 intra-company transfers from overseas are one of the most important visas which one must look at, especially from India, because it allows you to establish your business and immigrate successfully with very little investment. You can always consult a good immigration lawyer to make you understand. Especially from India, you need somebody who has corporate law experience in India, because 99% of the questions in approving an L1 are about your Indian company. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm a lawyer from India. I'm a Supreme Court lawyer in India, and I practiced corporate law in India. So explaining this for me to the US people is very easy, that what kind of corporate laws do we have in India? Many people cannot explain an Indian partnership deed. Many people cannot explain how a private limited company in India works. But I'm able to do that, and that's what makes my success rate goes up on these visas. There are opportunities I'm talking about between India and United States, which are such as Paris climate change treaties. So there are so many areas of common interest which are going to grow between India and United States. This is another article which appeared where he said Indian students couldn't be kicked out of US. Whether we like it or not, he said that we educate a lot of people, very smart people. We need those people in the country. So then we need to make laws for them. Once the law is made, it's my duty to interpret the law. And he's himself saying that Indian students shouldn't be kicked out of US. He weighs heavily on Indian stocks. Now, it could work against homegrown companies like Infosys and US, majors like IBM. Tomorrow, H1Bs may become difficult for them, but times are changing and we have to go by what the law is currently. What are the US immigration law amendments? These are some of the recent amendments which ask you, if there's a doctor or a lawyer who wants to come here, he needs to get a license now. So if he doesn't get a license, H1B will be granted for up to 1 year, so that by the time he can get his license. Other eligibility requirements such as I-797, if you don't have the original eligibility form, they'll still grant you time till the time so that employers can hire you. This was the new regulation which came out on January 17th, 2017. But again, an executive order can change all these. So keep up with the new laws. This is very important to understand. When there is any policy change or any executive action, it's very time consuming. Approval from the Congress is important, but a person can bring in executive action. Like we got one executive action just now, but it has been banned by the courts. So it takes time for actually a policy to set in. So in the meanwhile, there'll be a lot of hue and cry, there'll be a lot of changes. So therefore, you must stay in touch with a competent lawyer who understands the system. We are experienced for over 35 years in immigration law, and I have a group of about 10, 15 attorneys working with me in the US, and I have about 16 offices in India taking care of Indian law. You're always welcome to ask on any question about US immigration. And if you have any questions, you can email me at attorneyanu@gmail.com. My email is open and my Twitter handle is called Anu Peshawaria. I'll be happy to answer any questions, but email me directly at attorneyanu@gmail.com and I'll happily answer all your questions. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anu. That was really helpful. There was so many important points there for many of us, and especially for the way you focused on Indian immigrants. You brought up some very good points that all of us can learn from. So our audience, we have been collecting your questions from the time you signed up, and also the ones you are putting now live. And based on that, we have questions that our panelists will be asking. So feel free to keep sending your questions. And here we have wonderful panelists. So I will pass on the baton to Harsh to ask the first three questions.
Hey, Anuji, thank you for taking time out to answer our questions. My first question is related to H1B and H4. I'm on a H1B and my wife is on a H4. So what is the best option for someone who's on a H1B and spouse is on H4
Very good question. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that a person on an H1B should do is maintain his status. They should never fall out of status. So you should check with your employer if for some reason you're not getting your pay stub. And if for some reason you're falling out of status, that's the reason you must take action immediately. Because if you step out of the country, you have to go and get it stamped. They're not going to let you go back to United States. So at this point of time, do not leave the country if you find there is any lacuna in your pay stubs. Secondly, for an H4, it's very important again to remain in status. Because what happens most employers do is they forget the spouse. I've seen in many times my cases come, they always send me their own petitions and nobody even mentions that the person was married or not married or has children or not children. And many times that woman becomes illegal. So just for a small petition not being filed, the person has become illegal. It's almost that she's committed a crime. So therefore, the most important thing at this moment is to check and stay 100% in status. And other than that, what are the best options which you can look at are, you can always change your status. So what I normally do is when people come to me is I have a personal interview with everybody so that I find out from the childhood what this person has been doing. What are the various kinds of visas that apply to him? And sometimes in just an interview, I find out that the person at way back when he was born in United States and then left and went. It's very strange, but sometimes they don't know about it. This is just a simple thing, but unless you take the history of a person, you won't know. As I told you, there are about numerous kinds of visas that apply to a person. So any one of those visas can be ticked off and you can convert into that status. Because by filing one form 485, you can convert your status into any status while you're in the country.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Harsh. So I have a question. So Anuji, what are by far the best visas for people from India or other countries who want to immigrate to US? So you showed us many options and sometimes it becomes hard to figure out which one is best for a person.
So for people to come, it depends on their resume. So what we do is we don't show a resume to an attorney and we just decide what we get. So sometimes it's employment. In H1B so far was the best, but TN visa is also there. But sometimes people tell me that the reason that they're going is not just employment. The reason they're going is because they want a green card and they want to live in the United States. So they don't tell you that up front unless you again have a discussion with them. And then I find out that the option really was getting a green card. And then I ask them, oh, what were you doing while you were in India? And then they say, oh, my father has a business 30 years old and he was doing construction work, or somebody was doing leather imports. And I get so much information about their family businesses, and then I ask them, what were you doing? Oh, ever since I was there, I was a director in that company. And I was earning, while I was at home, I was marketing for that company. And he was just a 22-year-old boy, but he was a director of a company his father had formed. And he was a part of it. So I just said, well, then why don't we open a branch of your existing company here? And once we open a branch of your existing company, you could do the same thing, market your father's products here, as well as later on, if you have a contract with some other company, you can work for them as well. But let's start by opening your company. So these are innovative ideas. I mean, you've got to find out what a person wants, what he needs. So according to me, one of the best visas from India especially is L1. And from rest of the world, E2. Because the little bit investment, not even 100,000, you can buy a small grocery store or come into the country. And with L1 from India, you don't even require an investment. It's based on a projection that you will be doing something in the next few years. So if you're going to come into this country, obviously you're going to benefit the economy by running the business. You're not expected to be a huge company which is coming here. There are provisions for new offices opening also. And the new offices in the first year are not expected to hire American workers or do things which are the misconceptions which people have. So therefore, learn more about these visas. And then, of course, if you send me an email, I will be able to give you descriptive answers on your particular case.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anu. That was great. The next question is from Dikshit.
Hi, Anuji. This session is very informative. Thank you very much for that.
Very
And
nice.
even I got a clear picture about this immigration and all. Thank you for that. And
You're
my
welcome.
question is, can person who witness a crime or part of a crime derive any immigration status?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So even people like anybody who's here on an H1B or anyone who came on a business visa or a visitor visa came as long as the crime is committed in United States. So if a crime, and there are huge number of crimes, if you go on to, there is a list. It includes even stalking. It includes even, it's, of course, kidnapping is huge, but I'm talking of stalking. So if there's mental abuse or physical abuse of any nature, you can derive an immigration benefit from that. If you witnessed a crime and you help the enforcement in catching the culprit. Now, if you go into the depths of the reason why this was done is because they want to keep the country safe. So if there's a crime and somebody's witnessed it or something abuse has happened, they want to grant you status to stay. Now that status is called U visa. Now this applies to even people who do, you're not the beneficiary of any immigrant petition. You're nobody, but you're at a gas station. Somebody comes and hits you, or somebody tries to rob you. You report the crime. As soon as you report the crime, you're helping the enforcement. I had so many cases like this where somebody just told me they were walking on the street and somebody came and snatched a gold chain from them. So many people noticed that they're just walking and somebody did that to them. He reported the crime. Now, when he reported the crime, he gave the description of what happened. That means a crime occurred. Now, different places in the country, in America, there are different states, there are different policies of the police department, how they respond to your complaint. That's why it's most important, again, here to consult an attorney, because you might just report a crime, but it might not benefit you. So you must discuss with the attorney to say, this is what happened to me. Do you think this will qualify or not qualify? So therefore, your question is right. It does benefit into immigration benefits. And lots of non-profit organizations also around the country are helping people such as this who don't have money or who are willing to report a crime. So any crime like this, trafficking, sexual violence, robbery, theft, all these are covered by immigration, and you do get immigration benefits.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Great. Next question is from Sneha.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Anuji, for your detailed answers to the questions that you're asking. So the next question that I have is for students. Students who are on STEM OPT, right? Is it safe for them to travel out of the country?
At this point of time, I think nothing is safe. You need to watch out for the new laws, what are coming. And the most important thing I would say, so many bans occurred recently from different countries. So please look at the immediate policy. Which country is being affected, which country is not being affected. And even after that, if you're traveling at the embassy, anybody can, in the US embassy in the state, they can ask you innumerable questions about yourself. So, for example, you're going for an H1B. What do they ask you? They ask you for your pay stubs. They ask you for your letters of employment. They will ask you for your contracts. They will see which is your end client. whether it's a real client or not client. They will check back on all those people. They will call them. They will find out information about you. Have you done any crime till you stayed in India, in US? So you could, for example, get a ticket. What happens? You get a ticket and that comes on your record. It will have an impact. The officer has a duty to see whether you have moral responsibility, your character is good or not. So moral character can have a huge impact. People with DUIs never came back once they went, unless we filed appeals and we had to go through the court processes. So many people were just, and what about a case in India? So there was a case where a person did not even know that his wife had filed in India, 498A is very prevalent in India. So that's abuse against a spouse. So while she was traveling over here, the man had filed a case in India against them. So there was a case against them. So in the background check, that came up. So we people think it's just simple, this is our right. We've got a case here and it's going to be stamped 100%. How do we know which issue can come up? It's the embassy. So the first and foremost thing is to go to that embassy's website, check out what is the current situation. But again, how many embassies will put what the reality is on their websites? So we get these orders every day. We get memos. So we are part of an immigration attorneys association. We are 10,000 attorneys. Do you know our association does such incredible work for us that all our memos are deciphered, explained, and every day I get about 40, 50 mails from my group where everybody explains everything about a memo, how to challenge that memo, what are we going to do about going to the court with this memo, what is the latest judgment, which lawyer won this case, and how he went and what the judge said to him. So, whereas, let me tell you, it is the most difficult thing to overturn a stamping issue because they issue a 212. And once they issue a 212, it goes into background check. So a person may be very well employed over here and will go to India and get stuck. And he will keep on approaching the embassy saying, I have a job and I'm required in that job. But they'll say, sorry, we can't send you because in the background check is not complete yet. So most of these cases, how much ever we go back and tell them that this particular case, please hurry up, even attorneys, they don't respond to. So what do? We are forced to file a lawsuit. So we have to go and ask for a restraining order or asking them to give us the information. Then we run to our Congress leaders to give us some way so we can. But the point is that before going, always show your entire file to an attorney. It's worth that $100 consultation, let me tell you. We all look for free consultations, but somehow this is very, very important for me to tell you that as we go into this seminar, I have a second portion of my seminar, which I did not do purposely so that you guys could ask more questions. But there is a second portion of my program, which I'll tell you, you must review these questions. Reviewing is so important that the biggest mistake that a person can go away is by not getting his file reviewed by an attorney. Biggest mistake. And again, attorney is not God, because who's going to review your paper is a judge, and the judge may or may not agree with you. So you have to take as much precaution when you're taking your own case, because tomorrow, one day of illegality means that you could be banned from this country for 10 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anuji. Next question, back to Harsh for getting us the question.
Right. So I have one more question. I think this is kind of related to the previous question that you answered. Is it safe to travel to stamp your passport at this time of unrest?
Absolutely. That's what I was just telling you, that it's going to be very scary. But at the same time, we don't need to panic. The point is, the people who are here already, just try to see that you maintain your status. The most important thing is, God forbid something goes wrong, if some employer is not paying you, go to the labor court, file a report, get a letter from them why they're not paying you. These are very important things to have. Check your experience, whether your experience, what you have mentioned, is correct or not. So supposing somewhere you have put an extra diploma, or you've done something, or you've changed your experience. So I'm just curious. At the same time, we are all human. Small issues we can do. So we must know what is the weakness in our case, so that we must not get exploited. So we have to be very careful that when we are going for stamping, all our papers are genuine, legal, and if they are tested. For example, I did a case long time back, and I was doing an H1B, and somebody gave me a degree, bachelor's degree. And then the employer sent me 10 more cases. And I noticed that the same degree that the person had filed the first time is being copied with different names on it. I was stunned. Now, how am I to know as an attorney that this is not a genuine? Because they just send us a photocopy. But something struck me that this degree looks like that the names have been changed. I promptly sent him a letter saying that I personally do not agree with this visa, this degree, and I refuse to file your case. So he said, I've been to so many attorneys. Nobody's asked me this question, is this a genuine degree or not? It's my duty to show whether it's genuine or not. You file my case. I said, no. I have a right to refuse whichever case I want and whichever case I don't want. And you can go to any attorney who's willing to file your case. So many degrees were fake. And they verify from the universities which degree is right or not, which experience letter is right or not. So this is the time to see that we bring in ethical immigration practices. The moment we bring in ethical immigration practices, nobody can point a finger at us. And again, God forbid something goes wrong, please consult an attorney, because there may be a waiver. We do a lot of waivers, and we get waivers on genuine cases. You just have to file it, that's all. So if there is an issue, we can file a waiver.
Got it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Next question is from Dikshit. Dikshit, can you unmute yourself?
So my question is, what is Vawa and who can benefit from these visas? VAWA.
Yes, VAWA stands for Violence Against Women's Act. So, VAWA, even though the name says it's women, but it helps men also. So any man or woman who's a US citizen or a green card holder can file a petition under VAWA and get protection. So, which means if you're married and unfortunately things didn't go okay, under Domestic Violence Act, you can file a VAWA. And VAWA gets you a green card because it gets you anybody who's abused and is able to prove the abuse. Now, what do you need for the abuse? You might need a temporary restraining order from the court, or you might need a police statement, or sometimes it can just be your statement, because many people don't report. But they have evidence. As long as it is truthful and it is presented in the right way, you can get a VAWA benefit. So this VAWA is different from U visa. So U visas can come to anybody who's even on a visitor visa here can apply. But this is especially for US citizens and green card holders. So this is like a protection given to them. I've done cases for guys also who have been, because there was a case where a girl just kept saying that she's a green card holder, so she can bring anybody from India and do some things for them. But when she brought them here, she misused them and said, you clean the floor, you do this for me. So this is one time, I'm telling you, the first time where a man was abused. Although I've done hundreds and hundreds of cases for women who were abused. So VAWA is a protection, yes.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Anu. Next question from Sneha.
My question is, if someone on the visitor visa, how can they extend their stay permanently? And also, if students or people on H1B fall out of status, how can they be in the US, remain in the US? What are the different options?
So anyone who's in this country can change their status, whether you're on a visitor visa or on an H1. For example, H1 can switch to H4 tomorrow. H1 gets married to somebody, gets on a dependent visa. If a visitor visa comes, they can change to L1. So L1 is a very good visa to change into, because if a person come on a B1 visa, B1 is a business visa. You're looking for businesses. You found a business, so you can actually change to a business visa. People again from H1 for some days. Let me tell you one more very big issue. There's a category called EB1C. EB1C means if you have a company in India which has more than 25 employees, you could get a green card directly. So I don't think many people are aware about these issues. It is best to consult again an attorney that which to your particular case will apply best.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Anuji. We are getting a lot of live questions. People are so happy to have you here. If you don't mind, we got a lot of questions related to travel. So Parag would like to ask you a question that has come up very frequently.
Thank you, Anuji. So there's a common thread of questions about travel on different stages, whether it's OPT extension waiting, or if US citizen and even green card. What about travel in the next few months or the next year or so?
I answered the travel question already, where I said that you have to be very, very careful. You have to remain in status and not travel from the country without checking, getting an opinion whether your particular case allows you travel or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Anuji, for sharing your wisdom with us and for answering so many questions from our concerned audience. I'm very grateful to the OVBI team for arranging this much needed seminar for our community. A special shout out to our amazing volunteers, Sanjana, Parag, Dikshit, Harsh, Sneha, Anil, Alicia, Dipanshu, and countless other volunteers who made this event possible. And thank you so much, Anuji, for your insights and answering our questions. Remember, everybody, if you attended the seminar today, you qualify for your questions being addressed by Anuji. So feel free to email us if your question is not answered. You can email parag.shah@overseasvbi.org.
Or you can email me directly at attorneyanu@gmail.com.
Exactly. So
and I'll be happy to answer anything, because OVBI is doing such a wonderful job.
Great. Yeah. So you have both the options. You can email any of them for your questions. We are here to support you. Because above all, we want to thank you for the contribution you bring to the society. You are the ones who make this such an amazing country. So thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us, and have a wonderful weekend.
I want to thank Guruji last.
Yes, thank you to Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.